So you're joining me here with my Spyder. It's November, early November in Michigan, and it's cold outside. So sad for a lot of us northern folks that this time of year, your toy, your Spyder, your car, your motorcycle, our toys are going away for the wintertime. And so today I wanted to talk a little bit about how I'm going to store this Spyder, or how I would store this Spyder should I be going into hibernation for the winter. Don't leave the channel in the future because the Spyder will be in warmer climate, but I just want to show you how I would store it. So the first thing I do when I'm storing my Spyder is fill it up with fuel. So I go to the gas station, fill it up, bring it back home, make sure it's full. Now, the reason for that is, and maybe this is old school, and a lot of things aren't this way anymore, but this does have a metal fuel tank. Some say that during a winter or during temperature swings, there could be moisture develop in your tank, and your tank's metal and it could rust. So what I try to do is to avoid that problem is I fill up the tank with fuel for the beginning of the storage period. So a lot of times on new and modern vehicles, sometimes the tanks are plastic. They're not going to rust, but they still could get some moisture in the tank along the way. So I just like to top off the tank, make sure it's full, and then enter my storage period, however long it's going to be. I think what the most important thing is during the storage period is that you add fuel stabilizer. So what I do is I use stable. I add the appropriate amount of stable to my tank or to my vehicle for storage. Reason being, and I don't know where you guys are, maybe you guys, some of you can get rec fuel and maybe you exclusively run rec fuel, which does not have any ethanol in it, or maybe you just put the rec fuel in the vehicle of choice for the winter to avoid the ethanol. But for me, I don't do that. Michigan Fuel, your average everyday fuel, premium gas does have ethanol in it. So I think to counteract the degradation of the ethanol, I do put stabilizer in it. Do I think it's really going to degrade that much in 4 or 5 months over the winter? Probably not, but I like to have a safety net. So I do put the appropriate amount of stable in the gas. I either do it when I fill up at the gas station and drive it home. That way it can kind of mix around and be in the system. Or what I do is I typically always have a 5-gallon or 6-gallon can of premium fuel on hand because I kind of fuel this vehicle up from home. So I have a transfer pump. So sometimes what I'll do in a case of storage is I'll put the stabilizer in the can, let it mix around, then I'll pump the can into the Spyder with a fuel transfer pump. So either go to the gas station, fill up, and put the stabilizer in there, or put the stabilizer in when you get home, or have it in your can and put it in. But either way, get the stabilizer in and mix it around. So what I'll do is I'll fill this up, run it for a little bit, just to make sure the stabilizer makes it through the system and go from there. Now this isn't carbureted, so there's nothing to really get gunked up like the old days. But still, I do put the stabilizer in, and that's the first thing I do is fill it up and get it stabilized. Second thing I do typically is then I'll wash the vehicle or this machine. I'll get it all clean, I'll wash it, I'll make sure it's blown dry, may even run it to get some heat in it and make sure that it is dry and all the nooks and crannies are clean, and go from there. So it's fueled up, it's stabilized, and it's clean. The next thing I typically do is I will put a cover on it when it's stored. So it's going to be in this garage and it's going to be covered up. Now this garage is just a the environment this Spyder is going to be in is this 2-car garage. It's not heated, it's insulated, it's attached to my house. It will get cold in here and below freezing in the winter, but it's usually 10 or 20 degrees warmer than outside just because it's attached to the house, but it still gets cold in here. So it'll be out of the elements, non-heated, parked here, so it's covered up. So it's fueled up, stabled up, cleaned up, covered up. A lot of ups. So that's what I'll do. And maybe before I cover it up, I will go around and check all the tire pressures. I'll just make sure the tire pressures are up and they're good for sitting here in the winter. And then I cover it up and just make sure it's all clean and ready to go and covered. Another thing I do, some people will do, maybe this is optional, I don't do it much anymore. I used to put things underneath the tires, either a carpet remnant on a board or park it on something to get the tires off the concrete. I'm not sure that really works. Doesn't really prevent flat spotting any more than the vehicle sitting on the concrete, but some people think that it shouldn't, rubber shouldn't be touching concrete for an extended amount of time. I don't do that. I think flat spots are gonna heal themselves once you get it out 4 or 5 months later. They get temperature in them and you drive them. I think the flat spots are gonna go away. Now, if you park that for an extended amount of time, say years, maybe that would be a problem. So it's optional to put something underneath their tires. I just make sure they're aired up, and that's the extent to which I do that. Another thing to mention is once I do store it away and it's shut off and done, I don't start it. There's a debate whether you should go out and start it every so often. I don't. Once it's stored away, I do not start it, because I think once you do start it, you're introducing moisture issues, and if you do choose to start it, you have to run it for a long enough period to get rid of all the built up moisture that's going to happen in the exhaust. If I just start this up for 5 minutes, shut it down, say everything's great, it runs, it's just going to create moisture in the exhaust and internally rust. So if you do start it up, you have to go through the procedure to make sure the oil's up to temp, probably the coolant fans kick on, boil off any water, get the exhaust up to temp. It just adds complexity, so I don't do that. Once it's parked away, I do not start it till the following spring. And I can get away that way. Sometimes maybe you have to, maybe you got to move something or do something during storage. Just make sure you do it appropriately and get everything up to operating temperature. Me, I just leave it and I don't start it till the following spring when I take it out. Another thing that I always have to be conscious of is rodent control. What I choose to do personally is I put mouse traps all around the vehicle to ward off or trap any rodents that might be present. I don't see too many rodents in this garage. Over 20 years I've lived here, I may see a mouse or two, and I've trapped it and they're gone. But I do use traps, and I put them all around the vehicle. The reason I use traps versus other baits or things that they can eat and then go die is I don't want them to eat the bait and then crawl up in this machine and then die. I want to make sure if I trap them, I see them, they're dead and they're gone. I don't want them anywhere around here or being able to run around where I can't see them. So if I trap them, I want to see that they're gone. I've never had any issues with rodents eating any of my wires, but again, I pretty much outline the vehicle with rodent traps. I've heard of others going as far as putting something in their exhaust, steel wool or something that mice or rodents don't like so they don't crawl into your exhaust. I really don't do that. I don't think it's a problem. Some people will go as far as trying to put something into their air box so that the rodents can't get up into the air box. But in general, you know your area, you know the rodents you might have, just take appropriate measures so that you don't have an issue with the rodents during the winter storage period. Another thing I do, it's always on a tender, right? This is on a tender now, it's just in the garage. I'm always on a tender, a battery maintainer or tender. When I'm not riding the vehicle, it's always on a tender. So I think minimum in storage, you need to be on a tender with these machines. I think they tend to eat batteries. I think there's a lot of electronics. There could be some parasitic draw when it sits. So my rule of thumb is if I'm not riding it, it's on the tender. But if you are somewhere and it's stored, just keep it on a tender. You can kind of see my Vespa's on the tender. This is on the tender. So highly recommend always have your car or motorcycle or Spyder on a tender at all times during winter storage. Now, some people with their fluids, they like to change their fluids out prior to storage, meaning change their oil once a year. I'm just going to do this when maintenance calls for it. I don't think it's going to hurt the oil to sit a few months in storage. Some people like to change their fluids post-storage. Again, it depends how long you're storing it for, but I don't do anything in and around the regular maintenance intervals for my storage purposes, but some people do believe on changing fluids prior to storage or post-storage when it comes out. I just go by the normal intervals of the machine regardless. I do drive enough in 1 year, I think. There are exceptions, I suppose, again, for long-term versus just 1 year or what I call short-term winter storage. So yeah, that's really my list. Like I said, fuel it up, stable it up, cover it up, clean it up, put the tender on it, check your tire pressure, cover it up, do your rodent maintenance, and those are sort of the basics that I follow. I know it makes common sense, but some people are new to it and maybe they don't know. So that's my video today, guys, on how I'm going to store my Spyder. But like I said, this Spyder is not going into storage this year. It's going to warmer climates. So stay tuned for some exciting videos from warmer climates this winter, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.